6 or so weeks ago, probably even more than 6 weeks ago, I started to do wide bench press to train that because it's a weakness. I felt horrible going wide. I felt like my shoulders were going to pop out of their sockets. No strength of the chest, even in narrow grip and all that. So I thought, you know what? One of the workarounds could be just simply getting more comfortable in a wide position. And so I did that for the last 6+ weeks. Hitting it once, twice a week for volume. I would work up to a set of 5. And then if I can get, 5 sets of 5 with a given weight, I would go up 5 or 10 kilos, whatever I ended up doing. Now I'm hitting 120 kilos for a set of 4. I started at, I think it was 60 or 80 kilos over the course of 8 weeks, something like that. I've progressed it to 120 for 4. And I did, after that, 3 sets of 3 and then a set of 2. So I really exhausted the 120. Probably will take me another week or so to conquer 120. But I say all of this to say, man, I wanted to train the weakness to get better at the weakness. And now I feel that this is going to be my main grip. Maybe not as wide as I have it right now, but maybe like a few fingers in or something like that. Right now I've got my ring finger on the ring of the bar, which is very, very wide. And I did it for a reason, to get comfortable with the really, really wide grip. But maybe like index finger on the ring, not a ring. Maybe like a middle finger or ring will be the ideal. I'm not sure. But last week I tried to go narrow just for one session, work up to a comfortable single. Got to 130 for a single. And that felt as though I was fighting myself. Like my shoulders were starting to round. So as I was going down, my shoulders were kind of like picking up off the bench and rotating inwards, like an internal rotation. I felt like I was fighting myself and I didn't have enough room to go through the range of motion that the shoulder wants to go and the elbow and all that. So that kind of felt funky as. Even though I'm stronger in that position, I feel like it's not the one for me, weirdly. Like I feel like when I go a little wider, or when I go really, really wide, there's room for the shoulder, there's room for everything. I just feel like I'm more in tune with my back, and I prevent that shoulder rounding, that shoulder internal rotation when the shoulder picks up at the bottom when you touch the chest with the bar. None of that happens. I feel like I can lock in with my upper back with a wider grip. So it's really interesting. I've gone into this thinking wide is going to be just a temporary thing. And the idea was 3 to 4 weeks. But then after 3 or 4 weeks, I realized that the gains kept coming. So I was like, it would be silly just to, stop this and go to something different. Why don't I just keep pushing this until I hit a plateau, until I hit some sort of a wall where I can't progress anymore? And then I'll go back to narrow and I'll just, do that for a few weeks and go from there. But I'm still kind of working. Like I feel like every week I'm getting something out of it. It's been quite unreal. And the kicker to all of this is that my wrists feel amazing, my elbows feel amazing, my shoulders feel amazing, which was my biggest concern going into this. I thought going wide, you will mess your shoulders up. Going narrow, man, there was a point of time, probably this time last year, where I couldn't even bench at all because my elbows were so destroyed from going narrow, and it was all preceded by me adding bands to the movement. And that lit my freaking right elbow up so bad that I had trouble opening drawers in the kitchen. It was really impacting my everyday life. Tried everything and anything. Ended up arm wrestling movements were the ones that fixed my elbow. Doing stuff like pronation and supination and rising. All of these terms which arm wrestlers use every day. I did some of those movements and my forearm kind of got beefed up a little bit and all that inflammation settled. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And then after that, there was a whole stack of improvements with the bench press because I could tolerate volume in the movement. So I ended up getting to 152.5 on the bench press. That was my PR. And I did that in like a month. From 140 to 152, it was just like every session I was, seemed like every week I was putting on 2.5 kilos. And then, I decided let's go wide. Let's go really, really wide and work on that. There has to be a weakness there somewhere. And then what I found doing that was that my elbows were not only feeling freaking amazing going wide, but I was getting a freaking forearm pump doing bench press wide. Like, no kidding. Like, right now I'm talking to you and my forearms are spent from going wide in the bench press. I don't quite understand what the hell is going on. But I'm getting pumped. And because of that pump, I think my elbows feel amazing. So because of this wide bench press, I'm not doing any arm wrestling movements at all. Whereas with the narrow, I had to freaking do a stack. Like 3 or 4 times the volume that I would do on the bench press, I would have to do in the arm wrestling movements. Like sets of 30, sets of 40, like crazy amounts of like pronation work to make sure my elbows don't hurt, So if I was to go in and do what I did today, like let's say 5 sets of 5 at 130 or something like that, which is kind of like the same percentage that I would be using for the narrow compared to the wide, man, I would need to spend like 30, 45 minutes just doing pronation work, and supination with the hammer and with the belt and all that stuff, just to make sure that the following day I'm not absolutely smashed in the elbows. And I don't really understand what the muscle is. It's like some sort of like a forearm flexor on the medial side, so the inside of the elbow, on the flexor side of the forearm. There's like a spot there that would absolutely, like on touch, I would be like 8, 9 out of 10 pain. Like very, very, very bad pain. So I think it's the golfer's elbow. I think tennis elbow is when you have the lateral side of the elbow. I'm not. I always get this mixed up. But anyway, arm wrestling stuff fixed me. But this wide business, dude, it feeds itself. It literally feeds itself. And that to me just speaks volumes, man. Nothing hurts doing this, man. So I could go absolutely nuts with this freaking position and nothing hurts. I don't have to do anything to make sure like I do enough prehab work so it doesn't hurt. So it's like, why would I go anywhere else? And the thing is improving every week. And it's not hurting me. And I'm getting stronger in the forearms. Like, there's so many freaking positives with this wide bench press that I'm like, for years I used to think, no, I don't want to do that. Because I always kind of... So this is where like some beliefs, start with people. Like I thought wide was like almost like sumo. It just wasn't appealing to me, sumo deadlift. Because it's like, you're cutting range of motion, it's just shit and blah, 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 blah. And then over the years, I've kind of worked out that sumo also has a place, like wide bench press also has a place. Because, you're shitting on sumo deadlifts, but what can you sumo? Oh, that's right, you can't do more sumo than you do conventional. So it's a lift that you should be doing. Like if everyone could do more with sumo than conventional, then you could say, oh, it's cheating, right? But it's not, because there's guys out here, including me, that no way could I pull sumo as much as conventional. And same thing with the bench. Now, obviously, there are people in this world that make a mockery of it, and they freaking, they move the bar like an inch on the freaking bench press. That to me is nauseating as hell, and it's making a mockery. It's not even a strength sport at that point. It's got nothing to do with strength. It's an acrobatics freaking contortionist thing. Like, I've seen girls do 3 plates, and she's moving the bar like 3 centimeters. I'm like, what the hell is that? Not interested in that, because powerlifting to me is about strength, and that is just making a mockery out of it. That is literally making a mockery. You're not strong. You're not strong. You're really mobile, but this should be primarily a function of strength. So, I think with the way I'm doing it, the width of my grip and the range of motion, I still think it's about strength, and I'm strengthening something that was very, very weak on me. So I'm happy with it. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.